I woke up to the bitter aftertaste of NyQuil on my tongue and a strange lightness around my shoulders. My hand shot up to my head, and I froze. My hair, once long enough to graze my waist, was hacked off in uneven chunks. On the nightstand sat a pair of dull scissors and a note in my mother's neat handwriting. "You'll still look fine. Don't outshine your sister." My throat tightened, but no tears came, just a cold stillness. I had returned home to Oregon for Rachel's wedding. She was the golden child, always had been. The family's pride and joy, the center of every conversation. I was the quiet one, the one who moved out young, worked 2 jobs, never caused trouble, only to be forgotten. But this time I came hoping to be seen. I had bought a navy silk dress with my own money, prepared a heartfelt speech. I wasn't trying to steal the spotlight. I just wanted to exist in it for once. But waking up like that, in my childhood bedroom, with my dignity clipped off and left on the pillow, was their way of reminding me, in this family, there's only room for one daughter to shine. The night before Rachel's wedding, my mother handed me a steaming cup of chamomile tea. "You've been so tense lately," she said, her voice syrupy sweet. "Drink this and get some rest. Tomorrow's a big day, for all of us." I hesitated for a moment, the smell oddly strong for something herbal, but I was too tired to question it. I drank it. I didn't even finish brushing my teeth. Sleep wrapped around me too quickly, too thickly, like a fog I couldn't fight. When I woke, the world was sideways. My head pounded and the light pouring in through the blinds felt like needles. But it wasn't the hangover like haze that made my stomach drop. It was the hair. My hair, my long chestnut hair that I had grown and cared for over a decade, was gone. Uneven stubs clung to my scalp, and on my pillow lay soft brown strands like fallen leaves after a storm. I sat up slowly, my heart racing in confusion. At first, I thought I had dreamt it, or maybe I'd gotten sick and done it to myself in some fevered panic. But then I saw the scissors. They weren't hair shears, just a dull pair of orange-handled craft scissors, ones I recognized from the kitchen junk drawer. And next to them, taped neatly to the lamp base, was a note. "You'll still look fine. Don't outshine your sister. This is for the good of the day." Signed simply, Mom. I stared at it for a long time, the words swimming. This wasn't some deranged prank or mistake. It was deliberate. And worse, it was supposed to be reasonable. I stumbled to the bathroom mirror. The reflection that met me didn't look like anyone I knew. My eyes were swollen from sleep and shock, my cheeks pale. My hair, once a curtain I could hide behind, now looked like it had been chewed off by a wild animal. I ran my fingers through what was left, trying to make sense of it, but there was no way to fix what had been taken. I wasn't just humiliated. I was erased. I stormed downstairs in a daze, still in my robe. My father was eating cereal at the counter, scrolling through his phone. He looked up briefly and blinked. "Oh, good. You're up," he said, as if I hadn't just emerged looking like I'd been attacked. "Less hair makes your face less distracting anyway." He went back to his Cheerios. My mother, at the sink, didn't even turn around. "It's Rachel's day, Claire," she said, sipping her coffee. "Let her shine." There was no apology, no concern, just the unshakable message I'd been fed my whole life. Sit down, dim your light, don't make noise. That morning, I realized I had never truly been part of the family, just an accessory they edited to fit their narrative. My hair had been a symbol of something I controlled, something I owned. They didn't just cut it. They cut the one part of me that still felt untouchable. And they did it with the kind of casual cruelty that comes from thinking they had the right to. I didn't scream. I didn't throw the scissors across the room like I wanted to. Instead, I turned around and walked out. I didn't even make it to the car. I checked into a hotel 2 blocks from the venue and collapsed onto the bed, still shaking. The pillow was too white, the silence too loud. I stayed there for hours. Didn't eat, didn't move. Just laid there with the curtains drawn, trying to convince myself this wasn't happening. Shame poured over me like hot wax, slow, clinging, suffocating. I had come home with hope, Stupid hope that maybe for once I wouldn't be the afterthought, that maybe I could be part of something. I had bought my own dress for the first time in years, practiced my toast for weeks. All I wanted was to show up, smile, and be seen, not as the other daughter, but as myself. But now, I looked like a joke, and not even one I'd written. The worst part wasn't the hair. It was the knowledge that they didn't see this as wrong, that somewhere in their minds this made sense, a small sacrifice to preserve the illusion. They truly believed I'd ruin the wedding just by being visible. My mother had always believed that love meant control, that loyalty meant silence. And I had spent years swallowing it, mistaking guilt for affection, boundaries for selfishness. But this was different. This was a line I hadn't agreed to cross. I didn't call anyone. Not at first. I sat in that hotel room, staring at the ceiling, replaying every little moment over the years that should have warned me. The Christmas photos, where I was mysteriously cropped out. The birthday gift they forgot. The speech I wrote for Rachel's graduation that Mom edited beyond recognition. The time I got into NYU and they told me, "Don't be dramatic, Rachel needs the savings for her violin camp." I thought I had been making it up, overreacting, but now I saw the pattern. It had always been there. They didn't just prefer Rachel. They believed in her, and they believed I was something to manage, like a glare on a camera lens, something to fix, dim, erase. I picked up my phone and opened my voice memo app. I had dozens of recordings, little clips I used to track my thoughts for therapy. I didn't plan to use them, but as I scrolled, I found one from a week ago. Mom's voice, low but clear. "Claire's always been a bit much. If she wears that dress, people will look at her. Not Rachel." Then Dad, "We'll handle it. She won't even know what happened." I paused the recording. My breath caught in my throat. It wasn't just suspicion now. It was fact. They had planned this, premeditated sabotage, and they thought they could get away with it because I never fought back, until now. I replayed the audio again and again until every syllable burned. Then I saved it to a folder. I looked in the mirror. Still didn't recognize myself. But for the first time, I didn't flinch. Because what I saw wasn't broken. It was boiling. And that meant something was still alive. I didn't know what I'd do yet, but I knew one thing. I wouldn't disappear. Not this time. I sat on the edge of the hotel bed, phone in hand, staring at the screen without really seeing it. My reflection in the mirror across the room looked unfamiliar. Mottled skin, uneven hair, dark circles blooming under my eyes like bruises I didn't remember getting. But somewhere beneath that wreckage, something was beginning to harden. Not into anger, not yet, but into clarity. I opened the voice memos folder. It started as a therapy habit. My counselor had once suggested I record things that bothered me. Phrases, patterns, moments that didn't feel right but were too slippery to articulate. I'd never thought I'd listen to them again. Until now. Scrolling through the files, I found it. A recording from the week before I flew in. I hit play. My mother's voice, low but sharp. "She's wearing that blue dress again. You know, the one that makes her waist look tiny? Rachel's going to look frumpy standing next to her in lace." My father, chuckling. "So make sure she doesn't wear it. Tell her it's too much, or better yet, cut the hair. That's what everyone notices first." "You think she'd notice?" my mom said. "She'll be too knocked out to care." Click. The audio ended. I sat there, unmoving. This wasn't some impulsive act. They had planned it. Spoken about me like I was a liability, not a daughter. A threat, a problem to be trimmed, silenced, minimized. And now I had proof. I didn't cry. I saved the file. I played it again. And again, letting it burn itself into my bones. Then I texted Jordan. He arrived 30 minutes later, breathless, with his keys still in hand. The moment he saw me, his eyes widened. "Oh my God," he said. "They did it?" I nodded. He looked at the hair, then at the scissors I had placed on the table like a crime exhibit. Then he saw the note. He didn't touch anything. Just sat beside me quietly, like he was afraid his voice would break whatever was holding me together. I handed him the phone and played the recording. When it ended, he leaned back slowly. "Claire," he said, voice low, "this is abuse." I didn't answer. "You know that, right? What they did to you, it's not just cruel. It's illegal. You have evidence. You don't have to hide this." I looked at him. "I know, but I don't want to punish them. I want to end them." He raised an eyebrow. "I like that better." We spent the next few hours working. He borrowed scissors from the front desk, the good kind. We stood in the bathroom under sterile white light, and he trimmed what was left of my hacked hair into something sharp, deliberate, a sleek, defiant bob. "You look like someone about to walk into a courtroom and win," he said as he dried the last strand. "Or like you just escaped a cult." "Same thing," I replied. Then he set up his phone, opened the camera, and hit record. I sat on the hotel bed, staring into the lens. No makeup, black shirt, still a faint line where tears had dried. I cleared my throat and spoke. "My name is Claire Alden. Last night, my parents drugged me and cut my hair in my sleep because they thought I looked too good to attend my sister's wedding. But this isn't just about a haircut. This is about years of being silenced, diminished, erased in the name of family." I paused. "And I'm done being quiet." We didn't post the video. Not yet. But we saved it, cleaned it up, put captions on it. Jordan added soft background music. Nothing dramatic. Just a slow build. Then we scheduled it for upload the moment I stepped on stage the next night. I decided to go to the rehearsal dinner, not to smile and pretend, not to make peace, but to be seen. They'd always wanted me small, forgettable, manageable. But this time I would take the mic with my own hands. The venue was a vineyard, all fairy lights and white linen. Everyone was buzzing with fake excitement and wedding cliches. I showed up in a black satin dress, simple, elegant, and unapologetically striking. My hair framed my face like armor. People noticed. My mother saw me first. Her expression faltered for a second, only a second, but it was enough. A flicker of panic behind her rehearsed smile. "Claire," she said, voice tight. "You came." "I did," I said calmly. "Thank you for the haircut. It inspired me." Before she could respond, the coordinator called for the toast. "Claire, would you like to say a few words?" Yes, I would." I walked to the front slowly. Every eye followed me, cameras raised. Rachel beamed, assuming I'd play my part. I didn't. I took the mic, steadied my breath, and said, "I'm not here to celebrate. I'm here to tell the truth." A few polite laughs, nervous titters. I smiled slightly. "I know I'm not the favorite daughter. That's never been a secret. But last night, my parents drugged me and cut off my hair in my sleep because they thought I'd ruin Rachel's photos. They left a note on the nightstand, told me not to outshine her. Like existing as myself was an act of betrayal." The room shifted, forks clinked. Conversations died mid-sentence. I continued. "This didn't come out of nowhere. It's been happening for years, the birthdays they forgot, the photos they cropped me out of, the jokes about how I shouldn't speak too much or wear things that drew attention. I thought I was imagining it, that I was being sensitive, until last night. I pulled out my phone. You don't have to take my word for it." I tapped play. The room went silent as my mother's voice filled the air, dripping with scorn, then my father's laugh, and the line, "She'll be too knocked out to care," echoed like a slap. I let the audio finish. Then I said, "This isn't revenge, this is a funeral. For the version of me you all tolerated as long as I stayed quiet. That girl is gone, and I'm not sorry." I handed the mic back and walked away. No one clapped. No one moved, except the woman near the back who stood up and followed me out, whispering, "Thank you." I left the rehearsal dinner without looking back. No one dared meet my eyes. Not my sister, not my parents, not even the distant cousins who used to laugh at my quietness. By morning, the video Jordan and I had recorded was everywhere. Millions of views. Comments flooded in. Strangers saying I'd put words to their pain, their silencing. A women's advocacy group reached out and invited me to speak for their campaign. Unmute the silence. I said yes. 3 months later, Rachel's husband filed for divorce. He didn't cite the speech, but word spread that he'd seen the real dynamics behind the family facade. My parents never apologized, never acknowledged anything, but the people around them did. Neighbors stopped smiling. Church members whispered. Their silence was no longer seen as strength, but complicity. I moved to Seattle and opened a creative studio for women healing from family trauma. On the glass door in bold gold letters, I had this etched. I wasn't the problem. I was the proof. And just beneath that, I am not a destroyer. I am a survivor. For the first time in my life, I wasn't hiding. I was building, on my terms, with my voice.